Afternoon, collective. I'm here to drop in with you for the second live. This is a live. This is not a pre-recorded. So I am going to turn on comments. So as people show up, if they want to join the conversation, share their experiences, they can. I brought in a big download yesterday, so if you have not checked it out yet, I encourage you to. It is for that 777 Sirius Gateway, which today is the last day of that gateway, a day when we can really bring our manifestations into being with our intentions. It's a very hot point, I guess you would say. You know, it's like a point of really being able to pull the etheric down and root it in material reality. So I think it's a great day for us to be dropping in to close out week 3, because it definitely prepares us for what's coming in next week. Next week, we really get things cooking as far as bringing our manifestations into being. Now, with that read, with that download I brought in yesterday, I went a good 4 hours. It opens up with some astrology talk. After that, I go into a read for every single sign, okay? And I always try to keep it really short. I haven't mastered that yet, you know? So it ended up being a longer download than I was expecting, but it's good. And I listened to it last night. I watched the playback, and I put the timestamps for you all for each individual sign. When the read starts, to explain what the read's all about. There's also a timestamp for opening up with the astrology talk. So you can pick and choose what you want to tune into. You can watch it, you know, throughout the week, tune in, but it's really looking at what spiritual gifts are being activated for you now. And this is so essential because it's kind of shining a light on what's in the process of turning around, transforming. And so it can be very beneficial. It can be a big support as you're moving forward. So I'm really excited to drop in with you today. And we're closing out week 3. So week 3 was all about the heart. And we really looked at the physical aspects of the heart in the lesson that's on Cobra's Medicine Bag in that Own Your Fire course, which is free. And if you haven't accessed it yet, you can at cobrasmedicinebag.com. And it's on the homepage there. You'll see a little write-up about it. There is a red button that says free access here right underneath the write-up. Click that, you're in. You don't need to sign up for anything, nothing like that, you know, no sales pitch, no upsell, you know, no click this link to get this here, none of that, okay? It's just wide open. It's for your benefit, and it's my way of saying thank you to the community here at BroadCoven, all of you subscribers, everybody who is helping to get these messages out to a greater audience. I really appreciate you. We're co-creating this space here. So I'm very excited to bring this in for you today. And we are going to look at today, what do we need to just release, let go, let it be? What is the art of letting go? So many people struggle with it, right? And we're at this time where it's so essential that we really learn how to release, how to let go, that we don't feel resistance in this process, that we can understand the rhythms and cycles of life and nature as they express themselves through us. And if we look at the seasonal flow and the way things move in harmony with nature, when it's time to release, nature just effortlessly releases. There's no resistance. The tree doesn't grasp on the dying leaves and try to hold on to them. It understands that what I let go of now, I may go through this time of follow, but there will be this reward that comes later with new growth and everything brand new in the spring. And we go through these seasonal shifts, you know, with our doshas. It very much plays out through our doshas, which are the elementals expressing themselves within our inner cosmology. We go through these same cycles, these same shifts, these same releases, these same letting go experiences in our own experience, right? In our own little microcosmic experience of nature. And that's all nature is. It's all a great big collection of all these microcosms that are brought together in one singular whole, one resounding note. I like to think of it as the fairy concept of ecstasis. Ecstasis is like that one note that reverberates through all of creation, ripples through all things, plucks the chords of those spirals and webs of creation that we weave here in our earthly reality through the actions we take, the choices we make, the energy that we hold, what we carry forward with intention as we move into the world, as we start our day every day. And as that happens in the multiverse on all levels, all dimensions of existence, there's many different timelines out there, this isn't the only timeline. And they've looked into this, physics has looked into this. Quantum physics has really dived down the rabbit hole to look at the nature of reality, that it's multi-layered. It's not a universe, it's a multiverse. And there's many universes, and our little universe, as we relate to it, is just like this tiny little speck. Tiny little speck, whatever. It's just a little like dust in the wind, it's just this little speck on the shore of the sands of eternity. So it's never ending, this constant cycle of creation, this constant cycle of birth, life, death, rebirth. It's a very natural flow. It's very interesting because I've noticed a lot on YouTube and on other social media platforms, it's become kind of the norm to say unalive, that this is like a triggering word, death. And I think that that's such an unhealthy relationship to have with this concept of death, of release, because it's a natural part of life. And it's a part of life that many of us fear, many of us have resistance around, and it's also what keeps us struggling so much in our reality, in our experiences, this resistance to releasing, this resistance to letting go, and it's what keeps us stuck. And it's actually what keeps us from living. We waste our life in this way. We spill out the Ace of Cups, the gift of the fulfillment that has been given to us through spirit, through the ether, through Akasha, through higher consciousness, to manifest in this physical form, to be able to go through this experience, this garden of earthly delight. And it's just such a shame that so often we don't value this, that we don't appreciate this experience we have, and that we don't understand the nature of reality is to go with that flow, not to release. And in a way, when we refuse to let go of things, when we refuse to move in harmony with that current, when we fight that current, we end up just getting stuck, and we end up losing the gift of life because we're not present. And the gift is in the present. It's in the moment where you can really experience and sink into the joy of what it means to be alive. And suffering, loss, the deaths of life, this is part of life. And there's no escaping that. We live in a dualistic reality. But what we do have control over is how we move through our experiences. And we can do that with resistance, or we can do that with complete acceptance. If you want to look at it in very black and white terms, to just make it so crystal clear, it's always a choice between yes or no. Even within really difficult experiences of life that are painful, that we don't want to be moving through, that we have a lot of resistance around, you still have the opportunity to say yes to the experience. And it's that yes that is a complete openness, it's a complete lack of resistance. And it doesn't mean that you are happy about what you're going through. It just means that you're not hiding from it, and you're willing to acknowledge it. You're willing to face it, dead on. You're ready to look it in the eye And that's the point of transformation. That's when we can really use our fire of transformation. We've been looking a lot at activation, but there's another aspect that fire holds. And I feel like this is an essential piece to bring in right now as we prepare to move into the remaining 3 weeks of this experience, which are all really about building that fire and activating that force in the world, bringing the fire forward to manifest our creative visions, you know, to be that change we want to see in the world. Now is the perfect time to bring in the other component of fire, which can really help us in letting go, and that is its purification aspect. We are really looking at purifying the emotions at this phase, purifying the places inside of us that are stuck, that are resistant to releasing what we know is keeping us in a place of stagnancy and that is not allowing us to fully step into that creative power. And, you know, if you don't tap into your creative power, if your sacral chakra and your, you know, manipura, your power center, which is your solar plexus, it is that very pitta energy, you know, that fire energy. We think of the sun, and the sun is just a life force. It's our life force. It's what makes things grow. And if we're blocked up in these channels, and also in Muladhara, root chakra, we don't have that really grounded and rooted, it's impossible to really channel our fire. Now we just have this, you know, Sirius gateway going on right now, and Sirius is the spiritual sun. So that's a lot of light, you know, that's a lot of light building. And if we want to anchor that light that's building in the heavens, that light above, and bring it so below, we have to be able to root it in these lower chakra channels, you know, beginning with the solar plexus. So if you're in this position where you feel like, I don't feel empowered, I don't feel confident, I don't have the courage to face my future because I'm experiencing this loss, I'm experiencing this release, something is shifting for me, something is completely let go in my life, and I don't know how to step into this new reality, this new experience, then there can be a real challenge with letting that energy in because your energy center is just too congested with old stuff that needs to be released. It's just stagnant energy that doesn't allow you to really work with those lower chakra centers in the way you need to be able to pull down all the downloads, all the awareness, all the psychic insight that is likely coming forward for you right now, all the experiences of the expansion in your higher consciousness, you know, really feeling connected to your Atman. A lot of you are having these experiences right now. We're closing a very important cycle. There's the new moon in Leo coming in on the 17th, and that's really when it's the dark moon, right? But the next day, when that light of that new moon starts to build and we enter that brand new cycle, on the 18th, we have the changing of the nodes of destiny. So this is really powerful. It's really potent stuff. We got Aries, the initiator, coming in. It's time to really use our fire at that point. So I thought this would be a wonderful way for us to drop in and figure out what we need to let go. Where do we need to just let things be? And how can we go about releasing what we're still resisting? Softening our grasp around, keep kind of coming back to this visualization, and you can notice it as you move throughout your day. Are you moving throughout your day in a way where your body is like transmitting yes energy, or is it transmitting no energy? And what does that really look like? When we look at transmitting no energy, we're thinking like crossed arms, okay? We're thinking like hands on the hips, like I got something to say, all right, which coming with fire in that way is like a fire wall. It's going to keep out any kind of flow, any kind of receptivity to what you're trying to bring forward. Hunched forward shoulders is another sign of being in a no space. Looking down, is another way of being in a no space, which is kind of interesting because just as I did that, I was thinking about, cell phones and the way so often we're lost in our cell phones looking down. It's like, yes is looking up, it's looking straight ahead. It's looking at what's going on around you. It's eyes wide open instead of eyes shut. It's communicating in such a way where if you need to feel safety around the heart, you can still create that without like closing yourself off. You can rest your hands on your heart. Do you feel the difference in these postures? Okay, both are about creating some sense of holding, some sense of space around the heart, some sense of containment around the heart when there's vulnerability. Do you see this? Okay, look at the difference in what it transmits. I'm protecting my heart. Okay, this is a no. I'm protecting my heart. This is a yes. Do you feel the difference in the way the energy is transmitted? And Ted says yes. Ted feels the difference. So it's about this. It's about moving into the space where you truly can embrace whatever you're experiencing, even the vulnerability. And there's a way to still do this and be open while also creating, a sense of security and safety in opening up to those spaces. Many of us, know, and as came through in that Sirius 777 download, that it's so essential at this time that we do release so we can receive. There's so much that wants to come in. We are being asked to step onto a new timeline, and that timeline brings us to a place of growth and expansion and gifts and even miracles, really beautiful turnarounds that are highly unanticipated. It's such a blessing and it's such an opportunity. But we can't experience that, if we don't look toward the future. And bottom of the deck energy here, we got the Emperor in reverse. And this is ironic because the Emperor represents Aries, and Aries is taking over that North Node. But this energy is in reverse. It's still operating in the shadow. It's still clinging to the old. It's not turning the energy around, transmuting the energy through alchemy and rising up into that position of owning the fire, all right? Owning the fire as the magician, being able to hold the wand and direct that fire with authority. Not with authority that requires the validation of outside sources that have been put in that position of power over you, that you have chosen to put in that position of power over you, but inner authority that is informed by your soul, that's informed by your heart, that's informed by your connection to spirit, higher consciousness, okay? So it's so essential at this time. If we want to rise up into that North Node, and of course we want to rise up into the North Node is our destiny. It's what we're here to do. And so when we look at the nodes of destiny changing, and it is going to be the Alpha Omega point with Aries in the North Node, Libra in the South Node, it's a real point of creativity. It's the 0 point. It's starting at the beginning, that fool's journey. And there's so much potential in that. But if you are too focused on the shadow, you don't have the ability to tap the potential there. And so the cup is spilled. The opportunity to receive what wants to pour into you is spilled. And you stay in this like 5 of Cups energy collective, all right? It's so important that we build that light, that we stay connected to that light, because Sirius is that light. It is that spiritual sun that wants us to step into that place of exaltation within ourselves, to, get our flowers, to share our gifts and to have our gifts received, and to really be in this place of health, vitality, and radiance, mind, body, spirit, and in our lives, in our experiences, in our connections, in our relationships. So it might be a very helpful meditation at this time to really unite the solar energy of your solar plexus of Manipura with that solar energy of the spiritual sun The dog star, Sirius, right? Isn't that funny? The dog star. And we're going to be at the 0 point. And I think of that Fool card. And the Fool has a little dog nipping at its heels. It's sort of like the dog star, Sirius, is saying, don't forget about me, you know? So I feel like we're meant to work with this dual solar energy. And I'm almost wondering, with the Four of Wands that has come out so frequently in the readings recently, if that's what the Four of Wands is talking about, that alignment point of the two suns merging with the changing of the nodes of destiny. Like, there's a lot coming into alignment right now that is kicking off a new cycle. And I feel like if we can come into alignment with these energies within us, with our own inner cosmology, just a theory, just a download here, okay? I'm no expert. I'm a beginner. I'm a beginner, like we all are beginners, right? But this is just what I grok. It's what I feel out when I tap into the energy. If we can bring these energies into balance within ourselves, then that balance manifests in our life and it lights up our path forward and it makes beauty bloom before us, behind us, above us, below us, all around us. I feel like we're meant to really like tap into this beauty frequency. And there's this piece about letting go that we often ignore, collective. And that piece is that we so often forget the beauty of releasing. There can be a beauty of releasing. There can be a beauty in having the release of shedding tears, just the way that it can like, oh, right? Everything feels so tight, so held in, so contained. And then when you have a really good cry, it's just like, yeah, it kind of wrings you out, right? But oh, it feels freeing at the same time. It feels releasing at the same time. And think about all the endings you've experienced in your life throughout the years. We've all been through endings. You know, when you're going through it, it feels like I'll never make it through this, you know? It feels so larger than life. And you may even doubt your ability to get through it. But look at you. You're still here. We're all still here. We're still here in this thing called life. And, you know, this is the story that we have to really review and look at here with the Paulina Tarot title card here. You know, if wishes were horses, the dreamers would ride. So it's like, it's time to really, you know, get on that horse and start riding toward your future. You know, you got to move forward with power and understanding that letting go is not a disempowering experience. Letting go is a very empowering experience. And it's also this piece of recognizing that we don't want to resist this release. We don't want to resist this letting go, because if we do, then we're continuing to stay stuck in this old storyline where we no longer have a role. We no longer have a role. It becomes like this place of kind of haunting our own lives. And we're missing the gift of what wants to come in for us. If we can just find a little bravery, you know, it takes courage to let go. It takes courage to release. And you know what else takes courage? Love. Love is brave, you know? And if you're wanting love in your life and yet you're staying in this place of fear because you're grasping, you're holding on so tightly to something that needs to release, you're not stepping into the courage required to really receive the love that wants to pour into you. And it begins with you. It begins with knowing that, hey, I have that strength to release this. I have that strength inside of me. I can let this go. I've been through this many times. How many times throughout your life have you had to reinvent yourself? How many times throughout your life have you had to create a whole new story with a whole new cast of characters? And you had a whole new role, right? And in some stories, you've been the protagonist, and some stories, you've been the antagonist, and, you know, you're a villain in somebody's story as well, you know, for every bit of anger, resentment, desire to get even that some may hold on to. You have to understand somewhere out there, someone feels like that about you as well, you know? It's just the truth. It's the nature of reality. We all have our own experiences, even though it's a unified energy, even though we are a collective consciousness. We each have our egos and our own identities that we have formed that are based on our beliefs. And beliefs are malleable. You know, you can always change your beliefs. You can always change your mind. You can unlearn the old story and you can write a new one. And that's what we're being asked to do now. We're not being asked to continue telling the same old story that keeps us in this place of disempowerment. We're actually being asked to purify ourselves of the old story and to move forward in a way where we're really embodying the truth of who we are. And we got a clean slate in our consciousness where we can be in this space of saying, okay, this is a brand new cycle. It's not just a brand new cycle for you in your life. It's also a brand new cycle for the collective as a whole. It's a brand new cycle for this earth. It's a brand new cycle for existence. This is what we're stepping into now. That's why it feels so big. It is. It is. We're at a very pivotal point in our existence. And I personally believe we've had this pivotal point many, many, many times in many, many incarnations of existence on planet Earth. I don't feel like this is humans' first go around on this planet, not by a long shot. I don't. And I have no, scientific proof for that, other than saying there has to be a certain level of a question mark around that, because our dating, our carbon dating only goes back so far. So who really knows? Who really knows, the ultimate reality of that? And if there are parallel realities, are there parallel universes just like this one, where it's kind of like you slip through that portal of the great attractor, you pop out on the other side, and it's like a mock-up of this same, multiverse we're in here, and you get another chance, like press reset, almost like a video game. New levels, man, who knows? It's all open for speculation. And anybody who tells you they got it figured out, including the scientists, are full of it. Because the reality is we have no way of ultimately knowing the basis of reality, the nature of reality. And the only thing we have ascertained up till this point is that the nature of reality is energetic, that the nature of reality is positive, negative, neutral energy in the forms of protons, neutrons, and electrons and atoms. Okay, that's all we got. So we know it's all energy. We know that we're made of atoms. We know that, the table that we sit at to have our meal is made of atoms, and we eat a big old plate of tasty atoms to nourish our bodies. And we look up at the sky and, see all the atoms, drifting about there. Everything is energetic. And it's the separation, it's the structures we put around that energy that is the illusion that is formed by our ego. Because if we really let that fall, if we let the veil fall and understood the true nature of reality, that simply by looking at something and putting your own container around it, you can morph it into whatever you want it to be. And yes, it is possible. I know this for a fact. I've experienced it. Right? That is alchemy. It's letting the veil fall and seeing the nature of reality and realizing, oh, it's all malleable. Ted just shook his head. Yes, we can bring this energy together in any way we want. It's all about how we focus our intention. And it's by really understanding our power as creators, that our thoughts are things. Our thoughts are things, and they carry the weight of responsibility. We have a responsibility, and that's the responsibility of our ego, how our ego directs the manifestation of that energy through our own creative channel, okay? And even when we're looking at the chakra centers, again, we're looking at energetics, okay? So this is about, being willing to be open to a new story. And some of you, this is the story you tell yourself. Some of you, it's the story you tell yourself about your strength, about your ability to rise up out of what you're finding. so challenging right now. Some of you, it's a story you tell yourself about your inability to really step into the newness of this cycle, that you're too tired. You don't have what it takes to keep going. And this is an important piece too. If you've been through something really heavy, you may feel compromised energetically. You may feel burned out. A lot of you may feel burned out. You know, it's been a heavy time for all of us collectively. The past few years have been really rough and challenging, and it's affected us on every level. It's affected us in, you know, a very practical sense. It's affected many of us financially. It's affected many of us in terms of our security, our home life. It's affected our relationships. It's affected how we interact with the world. It's affected our worldview. It's affected our own like belief systems. Okay. So there's a lot that is rocking and rolling. The foundation has really been shook. And it's important to be mindful of this as well, and to pace yourself, because this is also a very essential part of owning your fire, is knowing when to pull back a little bit, you know, where to create space to rest, to integrate, to be at ease. This is also so essential. It's so essential. We have to focus on this. It's important at this time, because you can't just constantly, you know, direct your fire outwardly, because what happens when a fire rages out of control? It creates destruction. And we're trying to reverse that. It was 31:44 on the clock when I said that. So 444, you know, it starts with you bringing things into balance with that 3 energy, mind, body, spirit, being mindful of that. And once you're in balance, mind, body, spirit, that's when you can take the initiative. This is what brings things into fruition in a balanced way. Okay. So do take time to rest when you need to. And do use this space before we head into the next week, into week 4, where we really start to get things moving. We really start working with our fire. Do use this time to, you know, give yourself space to dream. Dream a new dream, you know, maybe even write out your new dream. You can even write it as a story. You can get creative with it. What would your new story be as you step into that alpha omega point, the meeting point of the changing of the nodes of destiny, once you arrive there on the 18th of this month? So it's coming up soon. It's just around the corner, you know, and you could even vision this any way you want. It might be a wonderful time this weekend, collective, to even make up a vision board, you know, make up a storyboard. Think of it more as a storyboard, and maybe it's something you can add to. Maybe you just start the opening chapter, right? You just start the beginning of the story with a vision board. I like this concept, you know. You can let that vision board grow with you as you move through the summer season, and watch as things ripen in your life. Watch as your visions ripen. What you create on this storyboard, the storyboard is simply a representation of your particular window in the grid of reality that you're looking through. Watch how you can see your story unfold as you manifest it in this way. I think this is a beautiful way to move forward. I love it because it works with the creative energy. It brings in a point of focus, and it allows you also to drop into your feelings, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you want to call in. And this allows you to experience it in a real visceral way, as well as having something in your environment that you can see, you know, that you can reflect on. So I love the imagery of this. I think that this is really beautiful. And it comes in with this card here. Look at this, 10 of Cups. It brings fulfillment. It brings happiness. And that's what so many people need to understand, is that, you know, they're clinging to something because it feels safe. But it's a gilded cage. It's a false sense of safety. And there are no safe spaces. And there are no safe spaces in love. Some of you are really wanting reconciliation at this time, and that's natural because the Venus retrograde energy we got building, okay? That Venus is going to be retrograde in Leo. So we're really shining a light on what happened in relationships past, our old love stories. All of this is very much at the forefront. Nostalgia will be at the forefront. You'll be thinking about people that you haven't seen in a long time. You'll be thinking about your first love, those old loves. There's going to be that sentimental feeling there, but we also have to remember that it's in Leo. So this is light building. It's shining a light on something for us, and this light is meant to make things grow, because that's what the sun does. It's a life-giving force. And if you join that energy, okay, I think I'll bring it in. Next week, I'm going to bring in, starting off the week, I'm going to have some healing sessions for us and some energy alignment sessions. I will bring in the soul retrieval closing session that's all about releasing what you're still holding on to. Okay. So I think this is good. We'll let this weekend, be a time to kind of sit with all of this, start visioning what you want to build as you step into the future and the new cycle. I think that's very healthy. And then you'll really be ready and be in a space of willingness to go through this release and close that soul retrieval process for those of you who did that work. For those of you who didn't do that work or don't feel you need soul retrieval, you will still be able to use this session to release the old love story, okay? I think we'll bring that in. I think there's a lot going on around old love stories for people, and the way these old love stories are still impacting their present love story, because they're still looking at that person from the past, even as they're gazing into their new love's eyes. And there's some piece of this. There's also the piece that some people are meant to come back around. And this is very true. There is soul reunion happening at this time. There is soulmate reunion. This is happening in love relationships, but it's also happening in friendships. It's happening in families. It's happening with mentors, teachers, people you're meant to connect with at this time that inspire a new way forward for you. And it's also about, what comes around from past lives, real old stories, ancient stories where there's something that's still remaining undone that needs to be addressed. And it's important. And I feel there's a lot of soulmate connections coming around that are just that. They're old holdovers from past lives. These stories have played out for so many cycles. And this is the point where we really wrap it up. We wrap it up. And wrapping it up can also bring balance in connections in this life that are coming back around the bend as well. We really need to get out of our ideas about that, though. What does reconciliation look like? What does healing look like? What does fulfillment of that karmic cycle look like? Because we know that fulfillment of this karmic cycle, it brings us happiness. It brings us joy. It brings us fulfillment. It brings us alignment. All right. But the piece that's so essential to remember with this is that that might look different than you anticipate. Some of you will be entering a new chapter in an old love story. And that's a beautiful thing if you have that opportunity. But if that's the case, none of the old story can tag along for the ride. There really has to be like this cleaning of the slate. You got a blank page here. We start anew. That also means that if you're going to take that risk, and it's always a risk with love, if you're going to take a risk to heal with someone, it's so ascension that so ascension. I said ascension. Okay. This is what it means to ascend. This is what it means to ascend into that North Node of destiny. I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say it's so essential that you let that old shit go. You can't keep holding it over that person's head. You can't keep flogging them with the deeds of the past. If you're going to be willing to have a new start, then you really have to just release all of it and say, okay, we've cleared that out. We've dropped in. We've gotten real about it. We've been honest with each other. I'm not talking about people who are trying to sweep things under the rug. Oh, let's not look at that back there. That was then. This is now. No. This is about somebody who shows up and says, you know what, I really want to heal this with you. And I know that things didn't go right back there. And I want to own my piece of it. Not somebody who's looking to blame you either. This is about you both being willing to take accountability for your part and to greet each other in that space and to look each other in the eyes and say, I'm ready to go on this journey of healing with you. And I know it's going to be painful at points. And I know it's going to be raw and it's going to be real, but something beautiful can come out of it. And there's no guarantees. It doesn't mean that you all will end up together down the road. But do you want to go on that journey? Do you want to step on that path of the Fool? That's for those of you who are being reunited with an old love or an old friend or somebody that you've been separated from and they're wanting to have reconnection. There is this piece. You want this, Ted? Ted wanted a cookie. Yeah, you want a cookie. You want the sweetness, right? Well, to get to the sweetness, you're going to have to do some work, and that's clearing out the old stories. So if you're encountering somebody who's coming back around and they're really willing to go to that place with you, and they're willing to like own their piece and put it out all on the table, and you do the same, and you really write that new chapter together, what that's going to look like, what you're committing to stepping into in this healing process. And it's almost better to look at it at this point rather than committing to the relationship. It's like, no, we're committing to healing and we're committing to growth. And we're invested in this, in our connection together, and we're going to see what that looks like. Then you really open yourself up to this potential of fulfillment, because some of you will go on that journey and you'll realize, okay, it served its purpose, and you'll feel grateful that you had that drop in and that clear out, and you'll feel grateful that you can still feel, good about each other at the end of the day. And that really does free you in such a beautiful way to move forward empowered, where you don't feel trapped and chained in the cycles of the past. And for others of you, it means a brand new beginning in your relationship, and it'll be totally different because you're different people now. I hope you're different people now. We're supposed to continue to grow and evolve. We're not supposed to stay stagnant. Sometimes we make deals in relationships with people. We make deals with our lovers. We make deals with our friends. And we say, oh, don't ever change. Well, we can't impose that on another, because that's to hold both of you back, And a relationship is never going to stay the same. A relationship is a creative process. It's an partnership. You're bringing your energies together and you're exploring this medium of how your energies combine and what can be created when you channel those energies together, right? So it's really about looking at things from a yes perspective, not thinking if, this person comes around and if it doesn't work out, if you don't end up in a love relationship like you were in before, that somehow that's a loss, that somehow that's a failure. It's not. Say yes to the experience and just let it crack you open. Let it crack open your heart and let it reveal to you what the gift is of that experience. Inside that heart is the ojas, it's the sweet stuff, it's the nectar of life. And this brings us so much blessing and so much joy. All right, so tell me about this 10 of Cups spirit. What do we need to know about this 10 of Cups that's on offer for the collective, and what can support them in the letting go process so they can really open themselves to receive the blessing that wants to come in? That's what it looks like. It looks like there's a lot of love that's wanting to pour into you. And so let's just see what we need to be aware of if we want to be in place of readiness to receive this love that wants to come in. I think I'll also do a healing session next week that will be really about aligning our energy with Sirius, aligning our energy with Sirius. 44 on the clock. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it, Spirit. So we can unite our suns, together, our spiritual sun and our physical sun. We can align those within the sun of Manipura, our solar plexus chakra. I think that'll be really empowering. So look for that to come in the opening of next week. I'll make sure that I bring that in for all of you as a support resource. I think that it will be very beneficial. Yeah. Bottom of the deck energy, death, you know, death. We're not going to call it unalive. Death, death. It's a part of life. It's part of life. We need to accept the deaths. We need to accept that no, things will never be as they have ever been, ever again. That's the nature of reality, actually. 45 on the clock. 9, 9, 18, 9, 9, 9, 9. You know, this is a spiritual lesson. The spiritual lesson is sometimes you have to step into that hermit energy, which means you have to just trust the compass heart, you know, to guide your way forward, that compass rose, you know, to point you in the right direction. And you just have to do it by feel. And you have to go it alone. There's times we have to walk our path alone and we feel alone. It's hard when you're going through a death in life. You feel very alone. And we enter this world alone and we'll leave this world alone as we know ourselves in our physical incarnation. So this is a very essential spiritual lesson. This feeling of aloneness, this feeling of this release, this feeling of the unknown, this empty space where anything can be. And that's the thing. Most people don't tap into the rebirth aspect of death. After death comes rebirth. Death is a transformation. It's not an ending. It's the seed of the new beginning. And so there needs to be a little bit more understanding about this as you let things go. Okay. For a lot of you, it's just like, let it be. Stop trying to figure it out. Maybe you're dealing with a loss. It doesn't make sense to you. Maybe you're dealing with a tragedy. There is no rational explanation for it other than it was time for the energy to transform. Sometimes that's painful. Yeah, I just had the tower come out there. Okay. Sometimes that's very painful. Sometimes it is related to a physical death, you know, a loved one, someone we care for deeply transitions. Sometimes it's about us facing our own mortality. You know, if we're dealing with a serious health problem, you know, we can feel very alone at those times that the tower is falling when our foundation is shaken in that way. It's fierce, okay? It's fierce. It shows you what matters at the end of the day. It burns away all that is false and gets you down to the heart of the matter, the pure essence of life, which is all things have a beginning and an end, and that this is inexhaustible. It's inexhaustible. And we can always rejoice as we move through life, even within grief. And that may sound like a contradiction, but it's not. This is the celebration of the dance of life. You know, if we always hold within ourselves that spirit of yes and aligning with the energy of love, even in loss, it holds a respectful, reverent space around what is being released. And this is what gives our lives meaning. It's what gives our lives purpose. And it's what opens us to the spiritual gift when that serious sunlight can pour through us and show us the beauty on the other side of the letting go. Yes. You know, we release, this fell on the floor, we release, we let go, and what do we get? Look at that. We get an Ace of Wands. That same Ace of Wands that Aries, as the magician, holds in the North Node. To use our fire, to channel it forward. Sometimes you do need to walk alone to fall back on yourself, to get in touch with your own fire, your own sense of purpose and passion and meaning. It's so essential. And we also know it's so ascension. It's like so ascension, man. That's what rises you up into that north node. And look, we got the owl medicine here, great horned owl medicine here, which, you know, it brings in my ancestral lineage for me with the Comanche and the way that, though the owl in general is considered, you know, bad juju, taboo among the Comanche, when they would go to war, horned owl feathers were used on the arms and on the shield for protection. Okay. Protection when you feel at war. All right. That Mars energy. Okay. It's about being able to see through the darkness. It's about being able to see through the fight to get to the light that's on the other side. Look at that. Being all fueled by the ethers, you know, drawing down that energy of the ether through the wand to direct with your creative fire to bring about manifestation. It comes through seeing through the darkness, the light that's on the other side. This is a really good sign of seeing so much activation, so much stepping into power, so much stepping into inner authority. It also shows beautiful new beginnings that take root in our lives, the harvest that is manifest in our lives that comes in with the fall season. If we can do this work collectively, beautiful energy. So this comes in the fall with fall equinox. We're building this energy right now. But at this time, there's a tower falling, okay? And it's in the crossing position. But with this crossing position, it's heading south, which means there's a lot of resistance around seeing the truth of your situation. There's a lot of resistance around changing your mind. There's a lot of resistance around having a new perspective, taking a new direction, a course of action. There's a lot of resistance around letting the house of lies fall, ending the old chapter, releasing the relationship, releasing the career, releasing the identity, the false identity you've been moving through life with. This is the tower that must fall in the age of the Kali Yuga. It's happening. It's going to happen, whether you let it happen willingly and with a spirit of, yes, I accept that this is false and it needs to be released. And yes, it's painful, it hurts, but I know that this needs to go if I'm going to grow. And so I'm going to say yes to this experience. And when I'm angry about it, and when I'm in the depths of like crying it out, I'm going to say, yes, it hurts. But I know I'm going to get to the other side of it. I know there's something on the other side of it because I'm part of nature. And to every end in nature, there's a new beginning. That sun goes down at the end of the day, but it rises the next. And it's always there, even in the darkness, right? That sun is always there. We can't see Sirius right now, but we're feeling Sirius. It's still there. The energy is still there. You know, as our world turns, there's times when we are in darkness. We do not see the sun. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. The light is still there. So this is our biggest challenge right now. We need to let it go. Just let it fall, release. And if you need support, let the support in, you know. If you're having a hard time letting go, ask for support. Call it in. You know, maybe you need to call on your spirit team more. Maybe you need to drop in with your ancestors more. Maybe you need to reach out to that friend that you trust and say, I just really need to talk to you. I'm having a hard time. Okay. Or find a support group, you know, but it's so essential to do this release work because right now y'all ain't doing the work. We need to do this work. And it's playing out in our lives on one level or another. We're not doing the work. And as we're not doing this work, we're blocking our creativity. And what is it holding back? Look at her. She is in this process of painting that pentagram on that pentacle, that ace of pentacles. You know, the pentagram is about the balance. You know, a lot of times people talk about the number 5, and just as I said that, it's like 55 on the clock, okay? Change is essential. It's essential for balance, actually. If everything stayed the same, if everything was stagnant, then we'd have a problem. Now, people always say, well, but in the tarot, all the 5s, they come in with some kind of strife, some kind of upheaval. That's true, but why do they? Why do they? Because of the human condition, because of our resistance to change. We're the ones who cause the strife. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be a point of ease, right? Just keep letting it flow. You know, 5 of Wands. If there's drama, you don't need to get ensnared in it. It doesn't need to be dramatic. You know, you just stay focused on what you're focused on. You know, you're not in competition with anybody. It's all the same energy. Why am I going to compete against myself? That's strange. You know, I'm just doing my thing. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter who has put me in the position of opponent. There is no other. I'm staying in this consciousness. I'm staying in this yes consciousness. I'm staying in this unity consciousness. And my point of responsibility that it's up to me how I use my energy in the world. And I'm not going to feed that. I'm not going to add fuel to that fire. I'm going to add fuel to my inner fire. I'm going to do the work so that I can come into this place of authority, inner authority as a creator. I'm going to create my new beginning, my Ace of Pentacles. You know what I'm saying? 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords, you know? There's no need to betray anybody to get what you want. When you're in a place of inner authority, you can simply, you know, live out of your truth. And if somebody has betrayed you or done something to take advantage of you, you know, well, it's up to you if you betray yourself by choosing to hold on to that. If you just acknowledge it for the truth that it is, if you allow yourself to experience the pain of it, if you let go and you release, you don't need to stay in a place of strife and suffering. 5 of Pentacles, scarcity consciousness, you know, and that ties into those other suits as well, you know, the betrayal. It ties into that somebody can take something from me, you know. It ties into that 5 of Wands, like I got to compete for it. That's scarcity consciousness. That's 5 of Pentacles, right? Rather than understanding, oh, I'm in a place of fallow right now. I'm in a time of loss right now. That's a natural part of this cycle. Okay. It's not easy to be in this space, but what can I grow in this space? Because in that space of emptiness, there's a whole bunch of possibility, right? And then we think of 5 of Cups. Well, we know inherent in the 5 of Cups is already the new beginning. We see that. It's evident in the card. 5 of Cups, looking down, 3 of Cups spilled, looking back at the past, staying stuck. The human condition, the resistance to change, the resistance to letting go. Whereas if you let go, what do you see in the 5 of Cups, especially in the Paulina Tarot? I'll have to hunt it down. In the 5 of Cups, in the Paulina Tarot, which is the deck I'm using, there's bats holding 2 cups. If you only turn around, and bat is the medicine of rebirth. It's the promise. It's all there in the cards. It's all there in the hand. So 5, the 5 suit, you know, that 5 in numerology, it's not negativity. It's not chaotic. It doesn't have to be. It can be creative. The reality is we make it chaotic because we have a resistance to it. We fear the natural cycle of life. We actually think we can control nature to the extent that we don't respect the harmonic flow of nature. The harmonic flow. Yeah. Again, harmonic makes me think of a stasis, the one note that resounds through nature. And we're each like a note of nature. And coming all together, we create that symphony of life. You know, 5 is a number of transformation and also unification. All right. You have to look at it that way because each of the points on the pentagram represents the elements. North, earth, east, air. South quadrant is fire, okay? And then when we're looking at the west, we got water. And the center of that is akasha, spirit, ether. And it's in balance, it's unified with spirit at its center, okay? So it's about balance. There's even Leonardo da Vinci, I don't remember the name of the piece of art. It's come up before. It's of the man standing and he has his arms and legs spread out and the figure makes a star and we are birthed from the stars. Do you see the interconnection here? So it's not that change has to be disruptive. A tower can be cathartic. A tower can blow your mind. A tower can be exciting. It can be revelatory. Even if it is like, whew, it rocked me, but oh, wow, okay. Let's get a little more playful here. Like, okay, yeah, everything's kind of a mess right now. Everything's up in the air. Or I don't know the next step, but wow, anything can happen. Can we tap into more of that potential, right? This is about doing the work. It's about doing the work. Nobody said it would be easy, but you're going to miss this opportunity for this new beginning if you don't do the work to actually like let this go and move into a more inner authoritative position of seeing yourself as a creator of new possibilities. And you owe it, man. You owe it to the collective because we all need to, step up to this next level of experience if there's any hope for the future for all of us and for generations to come, the generations that'll be left behind after we're long gone, right? Because it is this constant cycle. Look at that. It doesn't get better than that. The Magician. The Magician is the final card here. I love it. There it is. It's time to step into this Aries North node. It's time to step into this place of inner authority. I love all these elements of nature swirling about this Magician. I love that the eyes are closed. There's internal reflection. Which really shows, is that an owl? It is. It's an owl on top of the Magician's head. I never noticed that before. Yeah, it's like the light that pours through what has been alchemized, right? That time in the darkness, you're bringing it to the light. This is also about bringing the subconscious up to the surface so it can see the light. And in that, there is that point of transformation. We no longer call it fate. That's when we step into destiny. That's when we activate destiny. Fate is the hand you're dealt. Destiny is what you do with it. Be a transformer of fate into destiny. You have the ability to do this. Just let go and trust. I know. It's a lot easier than it sounds, right? It's a lot easier than it sounds. I didn't mean to say that, but that's so funny. I should have said it's a lot harder than it sounds, but it's actually not. It's actually not. And I understand. I get it. I tend to flow with change pretty well these days. I burn through things pretty quickly. I burn through things quickly because I went through a big death in my life. In my early 20s, I went through a major crisis. And I had to face my own mortality. And I just got totally devoured by the experience. And it was very intense. It was very terrifying for me. And I had a hard time staying in this earth suit. I had a hard time. It rocked me to my core. And I almost didn't make it, man. But I did. And I'm still here. And I learned a lot through that experience. And though it was devastating at the time, and though it felt like such a cursed experience at the time, it felt like such a terrible injustice and loss. There came the point where one day, walking across the street at the crossroads, I just had this point of illumination and this gratitude just washed through me that I was so grateful that I went through that because it's how I got to be who I am today. And who I continue to grow into being. And it was a beautiful point of redemption for me. And there's that point of redemption for everybody. And I still face loss in my life. I still face tragedies in my life. I still face pain in my life. I still face challenges. I'm in it, I'm in it with all of you. The difference that I have in my life now when I encounter the tower is that I don't fight to keep the tower patched together. Forget it. I'm not going to get in there and try to like put in some new bricks, patch it up, I go, okay, here we go. And I dive deep into my feelings of the experience. I let myself grieve it really hard. I give myself the space I need to go real deep with it. I let myself be angry. I let everything come out. And as I'm letting it come out, I'm holding the intention of yes in this too. I'm saying yes to this anger. I'm saying yes to this pain. And I'm also saying yes, I'm present for it. I don't resist it. And it's not easy, okay? It's fierce medicine. But I found that my life is so much easier when I do that, when I don't fight it, when I don't resist it. And it's totally shifted my whole perspective to be in a place of radical acceptance. It's also made me feel a lot more confidence and comfort within myself. Because when you go to that place where you can say yes to everything, you also learn that you're also saying yes to yourself. And so this is time to like stop saying no to yourself, start saying yes to yourself. And when you step into that position of inner authority, then you do gain this ability to command your fire forward in a masterful way and to be in a place of acceptance. The transformation is a natural part of life. That's what it means to be an alchemist. And if you're stepping on the path of alchemy, there's going to be times when your fire is going to be, put to the test. Are you going to let it rage out of control, or do you know how to contain it? Do you know how to channel it? Do you know how to use it in a masterful way to soulsmith? It makes me think of, those who do that smithing work, they work with the metals and they create sculptures and beautiful works of art. They can transform this base metal into something entirely new, working with that fire. It's the same thing. You work with the fire to, make the horseshoes. That's how the horse goes forward. That's how you gallop forward toward, your new dreams. It's a foundation, right? It's what gives you the endurance to go for the long distance, to head toward that happy ending. And that happy ending is just the seed of, a new beginning. Because then we press restart. It goes through the cycle again. This is the story of life. So this is beautiful. This shows a new cycle wants to come in for you. There's renewal coming in. There's so much hope coming in. You're going to have the ability to take action and to move forward into a new direction. So be ready for it. Don't miss the boat by holding on to something that's going to hold you back. It's so essential. I'm going to do a cut of the deck energy here. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull an angel tarot card just to see, any guidance that the angels have for us that can support us in doing this work. I love like the storyboard, vision board piece that came in. I think I'm going to work with that. Look at that, King of Wands. Okay, so again, it's that very independent energy, King of Wands, fire sign energy, fire forward. It's about you owning your fire and really thinking about how you want to work with this fire. We've got big Leo energy here. We're really gearing up to all the energy that's going to be pouring in from that Leo sun. We're working with that solar energy, the spiritual sun of Sirius, Leo sun, and also that sun is the center of, our universe. It's what gives that life-giving light that we need for everything to grow. So this is really about stepping into that place of aligning with that solar energy, aligning with that fire energy, owning your fire, bringing it forward in a creative way, moving from a place of inner authority. This is really beautiful energy. And of course, it also signifies taking your spot, taking your place on that throne in the Aries North node when that comes in at the Alpha Omega point on the 18th, right after that Leo new moon on the 17th. So really beautiful energy, really beautiful energy. I love this so much. Let's see what's on the other side of that cut of the deck. King of Pentacles. It's so perfect because, you know, it reminds me of the Taurus North node. On the 17th will be the last day, okay? The last day of Taurus holding that North node position, and then it passes the baton over to Aries. So we're really building up to this point right now. And again, you know, it's about understanding what has worth, what has value, what we invest in. So stop investing in the past. Stop investing in the tower. Stop trying to patch up the tower collective. It's meant to fall. We're meant to release this. You know, you're still here. It came out in the crossing heading south. You know, you're still too much in the south node energy. It's time to really build that energy in saying yes to the release. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 on the clock. Oh my gosh. Say yes to the release, collective. It's as simple as that. Just yes, let it go. Stop brooding about it, thinking about it, focusing on it, looking back there, telling all your friends the same old story about what happened, what so-and-so did to me. You know, stop. Just stop the madness, man. It's about just saying yes. That's what happened. That's how it went. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it sucked. Yes, they're a jerk. You know, whatever you need to, you know, come to grips with. And then once you come to grips with it, let it go, man. Let it go. So you don't get held back here. Because if you get held back here and you still haven't risen up into this Taurus North node, you're going to miss that passing of the baton to the Aries North node and the start of your new cycle. And you're going to stay stuck in the South node. Do be mindful. You've been in Scorpio in that South node, okay? You're still clinging there. Scorpio is associated with the tower. You're still clinging to this. Do you really want to cling to this? Do you understand what's taking over the South node? South node is being taken over by Libra. That's about justice and karmic balance. You don't want to be here when those changing of the guards go down, because if you stay here, if you're still clinging to this tower and you hit that changing of the nodes of destiny on the 18th, you're getting stuck in that same karmic cycle that you've been working through in the Scorpio South node. That ain't a good trip, man. All right. So I really encourage you to, whatever you need to do, if you need to do a ritual, if you need to do some kind of, you know, prayer work, a visual, if you need to go and, you know, maybe see a therapist or get some kind of support, whatever you need to do to move into this position of readiness to let the tower fall, you need to just let it fall. You need to let the old cycle go and trust that there's something beautiful that's building on the other side of this. And it wants to pour into you. And let me tell you, if you just tune in to that 777 serious read that I did, I broke it down for each of the signs, all the timestamps are there, so you can tune in to your specific placements in your chart. You will see the light that's wanting to build for you. But you got to let go, man. You got to let go, and you have to align with the light energy of Sirius, the spiritual sun, and our own solar sun of our solar system, that Leo ruling planet, okay? It's time. It's time. And once we align with the light, that's when we move forward toward all the beauty and the blessing that wants to come in, okay? Yeah, don't get caught up here. Don't get caught up like the hangman, all right? You're supposed to turn the energy around, and then you'll find yourself dancing and easing on down that new road that comes in, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do an angel card, all right? It might be cards. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this deck. Bottom of the deck energy right there for the angel tarot. We have the Two of Cups. Do you see? Look at that. It's almost making the unity symbol there. Turn it on its side. it's really about that point coming into the changing of the nodes and the cycle that's kicking off. It's potent, all right? This astrology is potent, but it's like, it rocks. It rocks if you don't resist it, man. I get it. It feels destabilizing. You know, everything's unknown. It can have you rocking and rolling. Can you turn it from anxiety to enthusiasm? You know, can you tap into that energy like, whoa, this is exciting. I don't know what the hell is going to happen, but I know whatever is going to happen, it's going to be better off than where I was, because I'm not going to go down that road again. You know what I'm saying? Think about the opportunity for elevation. 2 of Cups, the swiftly hearkening God. Yes, it will come in fast. I got like on a wing and a prayer kind of energy here. You know, your prayers have been heard. Spirit's heard that. You know, you're going to be getting messages coming in, all right? Messages from Spirit that will help you reach this unity point, reach this point of alignment with your path. A lot of you are like getting in proper alignment, you know, to hop on the appropriate timeline, you know? Are you going to miss the juncture because you're too busy, you know, looking back at the bus that's driving away from you? Like, you know, you're going to miss your connecting point. All right, that's what's coming in here. It says fruition provides expansive intelligence and gives the grace of God. It's like, Godspeed. You'll be on your way, man. You'll be on your way, collective. Once you let go, you'll see. Once you let go and you just trust that, hey, I don't have the answers. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know how it'll turn out. And I'm okay with that. I'm trusting that right now, even though it feels a mess or confusing, or I don't understand the next step, I'm trusting that it leads somewhere. I'm trusting that this is part of my path. This is part of my soul's journey. And I know this is not where the story ends. This is where the story begins. So can I just be open to what comes around? It's actually really beautiful, okay? Get excited. Don't miss your connection point, because it's going to take you where you're meant to go at this time. It's going to take you toward your North Star, your guiding light. All of us are in a process of stepping into our North Node. So while at the same time we're paying attention to what's going on with that transition of Aries taking over that node of destiny, you really also have to look at it as your North Node. What's going on in the North Node in your chart? Where's your North Node at right now? You know, what's going on with it? What sign is your North Node in? What house is your North Node in? I encourage you to look at your progress chart to figure that out, okay? That's so important. It's going to help you understand like what transits of outer planets are going on there, what factors are playing in with your North Node. Because when we look at that Aries North Node position and the Libra South Node, we're finding that balance between the Mars-Venus energy, the Alpha Omega point. It's the opportunity for the avenue is being presented, okay, through Aries, the Alpha, and the creative potential to have this new beginning, bring something new into being through Libra, Venus, the Omega. This is when it all comes together, okay? This is when it all comes together and you have this opportunity to have this new beginning in your life. This is the alchemy point, right? So when we're looking at Hangman, bottom of the deck energy, you're still hanging out here though, you know? This is the concern, that you're going to get too caught up in the shadow because we've been in the shadow so long that you're going to miss this opportunity. When we're looking at this point, you know, of the Alpha and the Omega merging, we really have to understand that the new beginning is coming in our North Node, ideally. The new beginning is coming in our North Node. So you want to pay attention to where your North Node is and understand that the Alpha Omega point of that Aries in the North Node doesn't mean you're now Aries North Node. No, that doesn't mean that. It means that Aries is adding fuel to the fire for a new beginning in your North Node, okay? So what sign is your North Node in? What house is it in? What does that house rule over? All of these things are very significant. This is where you should pour your light. This is where you should shine your light. This is where you should focus your attention. Focus on your North Node. Let it be like the pinpoint of light that's guiding you forward. if you don't have the answers, if you're not sure where you're going, if you don't know what the next step is, look at your North Node. What sign is it in? That'll tell you everything you need to know. Okay? Everything you need to know. Then you'll know your next step. Then you'll know how you should focus your energy. Then you'll know how you should show up. Then you'll know where your opportunities are. Where are your new beginnings? It will be very clear for you because you are born into this life to fulfill your North Node. That is what you're meant to step into at this time. Your destiny, it's just the first step. It's the full step, the willingness, okay? The yes spirit, the willingness to step out of the old cycle, leave that behind, and I'm going to step into my North Node. I'm scared, man. I'm scared shitless. Okay, that's okay. You got the dog star behind you helping to guide you, right? Because that dog on the fool nipping at the heels, like it'll keep you aligned with your soul's purpose. Don't worry about it, man. But you're meant to slip through this portal now. It's time to get on the fast track. We know that with that swift energy that came in with that card of that Two of Cups with the Angel Tarot, right? Like things are gonna get cooking, right? Use this time as we build up to that changing of the guards on the 18th and that new moon that comes in on the 17th in Leo to light the way. Use this time to like, okay, where do I still need to let go? Because you need to let go. You need to let go. You're still holding on to the Tower. We got the only God, the Hanged Man. Desire for knowledge protects from liars, evil spells, bad spirits, okay? Well, here's the thing. It's time to recognize, first of all, that you don't get to know. Some of you are holding yourselves back because, you've been dealing with somebody that lied to you, or you felt like, you got deceived or ripped off in some way, and you want the answers. Well, if you don't have the answers by now, like you're not meant to know right now, and you have to be okay with not knowing. Obviously, the energy's off. Obviously, the connection isn't serving. Obviously, the situation is not going to take you where you need to go. Do you really need to know all the details? One thing you might not understand either in your need to know is that you might not be in a space where you are really prepared to know all those details. And maybe you're being protected from that at this time. And when you're meant to know, you will. But is it also necessary to know every detail? Some of you haven't been able to move forward because you're like, well, I just want to know the truth. I just want to know everything that happened. And once I know what happened, then I can let it go. I can move forward. Is that really true, though? Is that accurate? Is that an accurate way of looking at the situation? Do you understand the way you're holding yourself back by doing that? Doesn't your truth matter in this situation? Is all that matters is another person's truth? You're letting that person have that kind of authority over you. The withholding of their truth keeps you from aligning with your own truth, stepping into your truth, living from your truth. It's time to look at it in a new way, right? It's time to get a different perspective about that. That's what the hangman's about. You get caught up, you hang out there, you're stalled, you're not moving forward. It's so you have time to really look at something you're not seeing accurately. Your truth matters in this situation. Cut through the confusion. Stop staying in that Eight of Swords. You don't need to be in that place. It's not confusing. It's actually very clear. Does it feel right to you? Does it feel good? Does it feel productive? Do you feel like you're growing? Do you feel like opportunities are opening up for you? Do you feel abundant? Or do you feel lacking? Do you feel angry? Do you feel in grief all the time? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel apathetic? Do you feel stuck? Who's the common denominator in that equation? It's not this other person, it's you. It's you. It's you. And that's not to put you in any place of shame, okay? It's not. And all of us have been through experiences in our life where we had a really hard time letting go. But the way you let go is by saying yes. And it sounds so counterintuitive, but it's really true. You say yes, and by yes, you acknowledge that yes, it's painful for you, and yes, it's hard for you, you know? But instead of having language around it, like, I can't let this go until I know the truth, until I know everything that happened. I can't move forward, and they're holding me back. You're lying to yourself. You're not even being in alignment with your truth. Instead, if you said, yes, I don't know the truth in this situation, but I know what I feel. I know what I feel. Yes, I don't have all the answers, but I know what's stirring in me. I can sense where I'm being led. And I know that I'm meant to leave this behind. And yes, it's hard for me to do that. And yes, it hurts. And yes, I'm angry. And yes, I still feel like this has a hold on me. Do you see how cathartic it is and what a point of transformation just that shift in consciousness is? Yes, I feel like this thing has a hold on me. Yes, I'm struggling to release it, rather than I can't let this go. This thing has a hold on me. One is looking at it from a point of victimization, and the opposite is looking at it from a point of empowerment and stepping into your light. This is the shift. This is the shift that's needed. This is the shift in consciousness, okay? Protects from liars. Are you lying to yourself? Are you lying to yourself? It sounds like it, collective. It sounds like we're telling ourselves a story that's just simply not true. You know what's right for you. It's either in resonance or it's not. Why do you need to keep, beating around the bush about it? What's the point? Why do you want to stay stuck? Only you can keep yourself stuck, And there's this piece too. If you keep telling the story, if you keep telling your friends the same old story, if you keep processing the same old story, you never get free of it, because you're still acting like, the protagonist in that story. You're still the main character. And so you're going to continue to drag all that weight around with you, okay? It's sort of like a spell you weave on yourself. Nobody can hold you hostage. Only you hold yourself in that place. And it's sort of like, give up that ghost, release that bad spirit, that keeps you in this place of suffering, and this goes back to my kind of controversial belief I have about demons. I don't believe that demons are like these outside entities. I believe demons are actually the distortion of the energy that we create within ourselves. It's when the light within us falls. You know what I'm saying? Takes a fall. It's the fallen angel, right? We have this guidance, this inspiration that comes through the ethers, through our spirit, this light energy that wants to build in our lives. But sometimes we get too locked in our ego and we feed into this false sense of separation, conflict, competition, us versus them. And that's when that exalted energy takes a fall. And that's when we come into these places of vices and unhealthy patterns of behavior, and we live from our shadow. That's all I think demons are. I believe demons are self-created. They are shadow aspects of ourselves that we have fed with so much care and intention and attention that they become an entity. We breathe life into our shadow. That's what a demon is in my mind. And therefore, it's within our power to also exorcise those demons and release them, okay? So you can free yourself. Nobody has the power to put you under a spell unless you agree to take on their darkness. And why would you do that? Why would you do that? Look, the star in reverse, okay? Yes. We're not coming into this place of equilibrium. We're not protected from attacks when we tell ourselves these stories, because these attacks are self-perpetuated. We're doing it to ourselves. It's very much like an illusion, these smoke and mirrors. We miss that opportunity. You know, the star is all about that dog. Star is Sirius, and it's about aligning with that energy of our spiritual sun, but also facing the sun that is our life-giving force, turning toward the light. You have to, you have to look north. You can't see the light if you're looking down. If you're looking down below, all you're going to see is darkness. So it's like, raise your head, look toward the light. Look up ahead. Stop looking at what's down there, what's back there, what's behind. It's the same thing when you're walking down the street, right? You face the light, the shadow falls behind you, right? This is about letting the shadow fall behind you. This is what is going to free you from everything that you feel is kind of like taking over you at this time, or holding you back, or attacking you. You're viewing it as coming from outside of yourself, but it's not. It's self-perpetuated, okay? And you can turn the corner on this, collective. Okay, angels, how can the collective free themselves from this so they can really release the past and they can step into the manifestation of the new cycle and the future, the new story that's coming into being for them now? Please give guidance for the collective on the best way to move through this challenge of letting go that seems to confront so much of the collective at this time. This willingness to say yes to the towers, what is false to be released. How can the collective move through this time of release and transition in an empowering way? What can support them? Okay. Anything else? All right. Quite a few there. Okay, so this came out first, the Hermit, all right? And that's very interesting because we brought in that symbolism in the beginning. This is about allowing yourself to have some time to really just drop into your own experience, drop into your own energy. I really encourage you to do this during the time leading up to the 18th, when we have the changing of the nodes of destiny and the light starts to really pour forth from that Leo new moon, okay? This says, the Hermit, word of God creating all. We speak things into existence, okay? Be mindful of the communication you're having with others. Are you still feeding the past? Is that what you're speaking into existence because you keep talking about what happened in the past or what so-and-so did to you? Or are you talking about your dreams? Are you talking about your visions? Are you talking about your new hopes, where you want to go, the process of growth you're in, things that can actually uplift your consciousness and experience and that of those around you, right? Very, very important point of alchemy and transformation. It says alchemy and transformation rules natural events and helps with spiritual progress, okay? So this is a big clue right now. The more that you can kind of like pull back your energy for a minute at this little pit stop here, pull back your energy a little bit and create space to drop into that spiritual sun's guiding light of Sirius, use this final day here of that Sirius gate, this portal that is the activating point, the seed to be planted of our new creation as we step forward into the new cycle. Use this as a time to really work with some alchemy, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. You can alchemize through breath work. You can alchemize through doing some kind of ritual to make your experiences that feel incomplete, where it feels like there isn't closure, where you can create a certain respect and reverence around closing those cycles if it wasn't offered to you, and you never know, maybe someday it will be offered to you. Maybe someday you will get that communication you wanted. Maybe someday you will get that closure from another, but you're never guaranteed that. So this is really about you creating it for yourself so you can move forward cleanly. Might also help you to spend some time in nature and just, sort of witness nature, use it as a meditation. Notice that there is a natural ebb and flow. There's a natural cycle to life. You're connected to that cycle. And acknowledging this is what's going to help you with spiritual progress. I also feel it'll be helpful to just get a little space. You might have too much stimulus from outside energies. You might have too much stimulus, from social media. You might be feeling the urge to kind of like go into hermit mode a little bit, and that's okay, you know. Allow yourself to sort of feed your spirit over the weekend and just give yourself some time to integrate what you're feeling, your experiences, and to do some release work. I think it'll be very helpful for you. And then you'll have that light that will be able to be shined forward on your new path, right? That hermit has that lantern. Yes. And I think these all came into reverse, okay? All of these came out in reverse. So I feel like this is what we're being asked to reflect on during this time of kind of like turning within as we move through this weekend. 10 of Cups, God, Master of the Universe, Divine Warrior, confounds the wicked, brings victory and peace, okay? So we're being asked to like really focus on what is our true fulfillment? What are we really looking for? What are the qualities of that fulfillment? And getting in touch with that, really thinking about that. 2 of Pentacles, God who supports the universe. Form, interesting. Form. I went to say form, but it's I was supposed to say fortune and fame. Form. Interesting. The angel is holding an offering bowl, and it's full of all kinds of, it looks like fruits. Fruits are all about like the sweetness of life. Fruits are also just building, bringing balance to the form. I think of your physical form in that regard with the 2 of Pentacles. Maybe bring in some kind of cleansing fruits, cleansing juices, cleansing smoothies, okay? Maybe you need to do a little bit of cleansing and sort of build that ojas in the body, build the vitality, the nectar of life. This will support you as you do this release work. I mean, people often neglect that when they're going through some kind of heavy time of transition, or they're releasing something that's been very emotional for them or mentally taxing. They forget that, you know, it's a lot of wear and tear on our nervous system. It's a lot for our body to energetically hold. And there also is an energetics, you know, of these emotions that you're experiencing, how they impact the nervous system and your vitality as a whole. So this can be very cleansing, you know, even working with diet can be a form of spiritual purification, puja, cleansing. So I encourage you, you know, bump up some sweet, juicy fruits, you know, get some juicing in maybe, get some smoothies in, give yourself a little break, you know, allow this lighter energy to cleanse you. Some of you may even want to do a full-on like fruit cleanse, which you can do. You can do if you feel really called to do that. It's very beneficial. It really builds the ojas. It builds the light energy in the body. If you've been doing a lot of channeling, getting a lot of downloads, oh, it can be so rejuvenating, so restoring. This can allow you to kind of like clear the vessel so you can receive this fortune that wants to come in for you, this turn of fortune, and you can kind of step cleanly into the new cycle, clean energy template, and also in this place of feeling revitalized, you know, energetic. It's hard to also release and step into the enthusiasm of a new cycle if you're feeling like your vitality has been hampered. So I feel like this piece is coming forward very strongly. It also says here, fulfills any request. And so this really brings forward to me this aspect of, you know, just like we want spirit to pour into us, to feed us, to nurture us in that form of the Ace of Cups. And we may send up our prayers, you know, we may ask for that spiritual support. It's also important to be mindful of feeding spirit. So now would be a good time to feed spirit. Give spirit some offerings, give spirit some gratitude for the blessings that are about to pour into you that you will receive. We got Queen of Cups energy, water sign energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. It also makes me think of Scorpio South Node, since it is, you know, in that South position. God the Redeemer, redemption, serves against enemies. So this is about really coming to a place of being able to emotionally accept that it's not up to you to balance those scales, that the balance is natural. It's a natural part of life. And where there's been loss or where you feel things were unfair, that there always is a sense of justice. There always is a sense of natural balance that takes over. Don't distort your heart. Don't invest your heart in this place of feeling self-righteous, like you need to hold others accountable for the ways that you were wounded. This is more about experiencing the release and coming into that place of letting go in the heart center so you can truly receive, and just trusting that there is no enemy. At the end of the day, there is no enemy, there is no other. And those who come onto our paths, who challenge us in those ways, they offer us an opportunity to have growth and transformation. All right. So this is about kind of like releasing yourself from the need to hold another accountable, and instead allowing yourself to not kind of like sink down to that level. Like don't sink down to that level. If you focus on those south waters, on the Scorpio waters, water seeks its own level. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you kind of drown yourself in that energy if you stay focused on that. It's about allowing yourself to be cleansed of this energy by, opening up to the ojas in the heart, the nectar of life in the heart, coming back into the heart center and allowing yourself to release. You may need to grieve. Some of you may have been really holding in your tears, and it's essential to let yourself have maybe that one last, good hard cry, or one last moment of allowing yourself to feel your shadowy emotions around what you're needing to let go. Okay. This is what will bring you into alignment. It's what will bring you back into your heart center and create the space of openness where you can receive the blessings that want to come in the new cycle. It's also what will bring you healing with the 3 of Cups. Healing and completion of the old cycle. And this as well says fame and renown influences commerce, voyages, and great discoveries. Yes, so it's like on the other side of this, what you can't see right now, on the other side of this is that moving into expansion, stepping into light. This reminds me of the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so it's really about like getting that Ace of Pentacles, that tangible new beginning that will move you forward into your future. And once you step into that, it's all about the great voyage, and the discoveries that come with that, of entering into a new cycle. And this is going to bring you healing and so much celebration, right? So it's really about doing your release work, and not continuing to focus. When I think of the 3 of Cups in reverse, right, I think of those 3 of Cups that are spilled on the ground, and the 5 of Cups. And that's what will keep you in a place of disappointment. You won't see the 2 of Cups that is actually an offer for you, the true opportunity for alignment. Knight of Swords energy. Okay, you got to cut the cord, man. You got to cut the cord. Air sign energy. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It's also what the South Node of Libra will ask us to do. It will ask us to be decisive. It's time to be decisive. It's time to make a choice, and it's time to move forward boldly. The Knights are about action. They're about movement. This is about moving forward decisively. It's about cutting off what doesn't serve. And it's about speaking truth cleanly and moving forward with a vision, with a clear sense of direction about where you need to go. Okay. Intellectual richness protects fertility of women. This is about heading towards growth, right? Choose growth, and you can never choose wrong. If you're staying in a place where you're focused on the loss of the past, you're feeling stagnant, you're not really in the flow of abundance in your life, you're having a hard time manifesting opportunities for yourself, your relationships aren't working out, the energy just feels stagnant. Okay, then you have to head in a new direction, because that's not choosing growth, right? So this is needing to gain that clarity with it in reverse. This is all going to be illuminated for you as you pull back your energy. By pulling back your energy, you'll be able to bring these aspects upright. You'll start to move into the opportunity. All right. Very important. All right. Very important. This is what protects The energy of the Empress, 1:44:44 on the clock. The Empress bursts all new things into being. That's that Taurus North Node, okay? Can't stay in the South. You can't stay in the South. You got to turn towards the North and step into that place of, okay, I know where I'm going to invest my energy now. That automatically rises you up into that North Node. Then you'll be ready. When the Aries takes over on the 18th, you'll be ready to charge forward. You know where you're going. You cut off the past. You cut off what doesn't serve. You cut off what does not allow growth. You got to prune things for there to be growth, correct? When you got a rose bush, you want the sweetness of that bloom. Well, the roses only bloom if you know to properly prune. You know, you have to cut off what no longer bears fruit, right? Or else you don't have anything that's going to blossom there. There will be nothing that will come to bloom there. This is an essential part of growth, right? It's an essential part of arriving at, you know, this place of experiencing blessings in our lives. There's pruning that's required. It's a part of growth. It's an essential part of growth. We need to focus on this a bit. King of Cups, restitution, finds stolen objects and discovers the person responsible, all right? King of Cups in reverse, right? Again, this is coming back to an accountability, empowering standpoint. And I really feel like with the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups that came forward, right? And they are both in reverse, right? We want to come into alignment. We want to come into that point of unification. We want to connect with others on a heart level. We want to be able to receive that person, you know, and have it be this beautiful giving and receiving of love, you know, not this push-pull, you know, struggle for who gets to have the power in the relationship. This is about having healthy connections, okay? But we can't have this if we continue to, you know, spill out the cups, and if we continue to blame the other. In some cases, you all are blaming another for stealing your love from you, you know? You're blaming the other. They're the ones who sabotaged this love, or maybe you dealt with a third party situation. You feel like this person, you know, took your love from you, but that's not possible. It's just not. It's not even possible, because love is not an object. Find stolen objects. Love is not an object. Love is not something meant to be, you know, obtained and held on to. That's not what love is. Love is a verb. It's an action. It's this beautiful flow. It's this energy that is continually evolving. Okay. And I understand it's hard if you dealt with that situation where somebody dishonored you, you know, somebody was untruthful to you, somebody, you know, violated the intimacy between you, and they were with another person, you know, and that's a deep sense of betrayal. It's a deep sense of loss. But it doesn't help you to not acknowledge that that's the reality of the situation, and that relationship as it was will never be the same again. Okay. And for those of you who are hoping to heal with somebody where this is your story, you're willing to work through it, you know, no judgment. Everybody makes their own choices about what's right for them. In that case, you know, you really have to understand that, you know, holding on to a person, trying to control the experience, you know, fighting for a person, competing for a person, or trying to hold them accountable, make them wrong, blaming, you know, staying stuck in the cycle is not going to move you all forward, right? It's about this honesty, this transparency, and really understanding your part in it and the way that you fed into the cycle. You know, even if you're releasing this, you know, you don't want to stay in this place of bitterness where you give somebody the authority to steal your love from you. You are love. You're always in this place of love. Maybe this person is not able to receive the love that you want to give. They're not in a place of readiness to go on that journey with you. You're just, you know, you're not operating at the same level. That's okay. You know, let it go, let it be. You know, if you love someone, set them free, you know, and if it's meant to be, and you two are truly meant to come into alignment, that will flow of its own accord. It'll happen naturally, not because you try to force it into being, not because you're so resistant to releasing them. You force them, you know, you force them to stay with you. You know, there's so much transformation that happens in the point of understanding that anytime we're clinging to something, anytime we're not willing to have a soft, open hand when it comes to love, we're doing ourselves a disservice, and we're actually investing in something that's not like love at all, right? A lot of you are needing to do release work around a person, a person that you experience some kind of betrayal, some kind of loss, some type of deception around, some type of violation around. You're wanting to hold this person accountable. You're wanting this person to, feel sorry. You're wanting this person to apologize. You're wanting this person to give you some kind of answer, some kind of closure. But you can't control another person's actions. And so this is very much about you just coming into a place of acceptance with that and just releasing it, understanding that this isn't in alignment with me right now. And I'm not going to miss my opportunity to step into the new cycle, which may include healing. It may, because we see here 7 of Pentacles in reverse. That's all about, will there be growth here? Can there be growth? Yes, there can be growth, but not when it's in reverse, because your investment, which you're trying to grow, it has roots in the past and what's meant to be shed and released. You need to turn the energy around so you can invest where there is growth potential, which is about stepping into your North Node now and stepping into what you have the ability to create in your life, not making it about what another can give you, okay? Discernment, prosperity, the deliverance of prisoners. All right, you set yourself free. You step out of the 8 of Swords energy and you move into that position of inner authority. And what does it lead to? The 10 of Cups. And that's what you can't see right now. And that's what eludes you right now, because you're too distracted by the other. You're too distracted by what's going on outside of yourself. And you need to get back in touch with yourself. You need a deep drop in this weekend. Right? So I feel like this is a balancing point for Pitta. 10 of Cups. Divine warrior confounds the wicked, brings victory and peace. And I really feel this confounds the wicked. I feel the wicked aspect is the lie, and it's that sense of separation. It's the way we lie to ourselves. It's the way we tell ourselves stories, about why things are the way they are, and the way we stay in a place of victimization by blaming the other. And I'm not saying that people don't do harmful things to other people. They certainly do. But as long as you continue to stay stuck there and wanting to hold this person accountable, or wanting them to, fess up, or, do something to make it right, you're giving your power away. You're not moving in a place of empowerment. And from that position, there is no possibility of anything bearing fruit in your life. There is no opportunity to manifest your dreams, to step into that happiness of the sun that you want in your life. Hello, it's so good to see you, Arvivo. I mean, this is such a point of transformation, just really acknowledging that. Nobody has authority over my happiness. I get to choose. I get to choose my happiness. And what brings happiness? Growth. Growth brings happiness. Stagnancy brings misery, brings depression, brings hopelessness. Choosing growth brings happiness. So this is the natural choice. And this is just really a confirmation. If you choose happiness, if you choose yourself, what feels right to you, you don't make it about others, what others have to give you in order for you to be happy, right? Ah, I love this. Hey, you're right in alignment with the energy. You're moving on up. You're moving on up, Arvivo. You're moving on up into that North Node. You're moving on up into your destiny. You're like, I'm letting it go, man. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to let it go. I'm packing it all up, man. I'm ready to go. And that's the right energy. That's what we need to be in right now. Blessings on your new move. I wish you so much happiness in your new home, your new space. I hope it supports you in all ways in your new chapter. I'm very, very, very happy for you. Yeah, see? Yes, I am. You're in the spirit of yes. That's what it's about, man. You're being told, if you all take this space, okay? Take this space as we lead up to that Aries North Node taking over on the 18th. It'll be totally lit up by the Leo new moon on the 1st, okay? And you invest in yourself in this way. The Hermit, okay? You trust your own inner voice. You trust where you're being led. You don't make others responsible for your happiness in any way, shape, or form. You let go of the old cycle. You make peace with it. You do whatever you have to do to make that happen, okay? If you need to get support, there's no shame in that. Go get support. Go find a support group. Talk to a therapist. Or if you've been isolating, like reach out to a good friend, reach out to somebody you trust. Somebody who really is a safe space for you that you can count on. Drop in with them. Ask them, are you open? Are you open to kind of like holding some space while I process something? Or create some kind of release ritual so you can let it go, right? And I'll bring in that release ritual on Tuesday when I'm back, okay? And we'll do a guided journey for that to further support you all in this, okay? And I'll help you all align with the light. We'll bring in another meditation for aligning the two suns, the spiritual sun of Sirius, the dog star, and that sun of our solar system, the ruling planet of Leo, all right? We'll bring those into alignment to build the light and really activate, that hermit's lantern, right? The light that shines forward into our future. So we really feel empowered stepping into the new cycle. We'll bring that in. If you use this energy at this time, just kind of turn within, shut out the distractions, get really into your own energy, get clear. Where do I still have any remaining letting go, release work to do? What do I still need to kind of like pull out from the root? Where do I need to do that? Line in the sand kind of work, like that was then, and we're moving into right now and stepping forward into my future. If you do that, you're going to rise up into your North Node, and you're going to have this 10 of Cups, this fulfillment. And I really feel that full fulfillment, it becomes evident in the fall. And I really pick up specifically right around October 14th, because that's when we're out of the eclipse season. So we know that there's a lot we still can't see right now. We have to remember that. We're in an eclipse season right now. So you might think you have all the answers. You might think you know what will bring you ultimate fulfillment. The reality is you don't. There's still so much happening behind the scenes right now. And it's all synchronistically lining up for you. But you can sabotage yourself if you stay focused on the shadow and looking back at the past. Because when we get this alpha omega point coming in with the changing of the nodes of destiny on the 18th, if you're still looking back there, you're going to miss your transfer point, okay? And you're going to miss your ride into the future, and you're going to be held back, balancing karma. Do you want to go through another cycle of what you went through with this Scorpio South Node? Think about what you've been going through over the past year and a half. Do you want more of that? Because that's what's going to happen if you don't let this tower fall. It's so, so essential, collective. One final cut of the deck energy here from the angels. Any further guidance? It's in reverse, okay? And I love it. It's so appropriate for this to be in reverse because it's the Queen of Swords in reverse, which represents Libra South Node taking over, which is going to be the karmic balancing point, all right? That's coming in on the 18th. So we're in a period right now where we're closing this cycle. This is all about karmic balancing point, all right? There's been enough of balancing out the shadow, and it's now time to step into that balancing point, because when Libra takes over that South Node, this is what really needs to be understood at this point. It's big Ma'at energy. We do have like that Egyptian spirituality, ancient Egyptian spirituality front and center with Sirius, okay? Cal Garrison did a really awesome write-up recently, and she's going to be on the 18th when we do the changing of the nodes of destiny. I'm so excited. We're going to do a live, so I hope you'll tune in for that. She's just a font of wisdom, OG astrologer. She knows her stuff. But she recently did a write-up just the other day about the Egyptians when it comes to the dog star Sirius, and she was talking about how when the Egyptians couldn't see Sirius, which you can't see Sirius at this time, it's not visible. It's only visible, at that first break of daylight, on the horizon, but we can't see it at night, okay? And they viewed Sirius as that focal point, their spiritual sun, that destination, the place where the souls go to transition into the next realm of existence, okay? So these themes are really playing out right now, and they viewed this time, the dog days of summer, as a point of, you know, treachery almost, you know? It's always darkest before the dawn, right? So there's this piece here of Egyptian spirituality coming forward very strongly. That sun, that spiritual sun is still there. How do we connect with the spiritual sun? You know, we connect with it through the hermit energy, through turning within. We have to connect with our spirituality to build that light. We have to build the light within us when we're not able to see it in our outer reality. That's what shines the light forward to new growth. And so with this Egyptian spirituality coming forward very strongly, you know, we got Queen of Swords, South, in that South node position, the Libra energy. I think Ma'at, right? Big Ma'at energy coming forward. It is that question. Is your heart lighter than the feather? Is your heart lighter than the feather? And it's interesting because when I think of the feather, I think of a quill as well. And I think of a writing utensil, right? We used to write with a feather, you know, a quill. And the pen is mightier than the sword, right? So this is like, you can write your future, right? You can write your future right now. You get to decide, you know, what your new contract is. It's sort of like a new contract, a new soul contract is being formed at this time. You know, yeah, I do too. It's true. You know, and our words have power. Our words have power. It's about what we speak into existence, right? And in this way, the written word is coming forward very powerfully at this time. And I feel like this is in relation to soul contracts. It's like, do you really want to arrive at that changing of the nodes of destiny? You're still refusing to let a tower fall. You're still not accepting that the old cycle is over. And then you get to that point, the scales are being, you know, balanced there, and oops, you know, your heart is heavier than the feather. Well, all right. You know, Libra is going to be like, all right, we got to, yeah, you still got some work to do. There's still some debts to be paid here. You know, we're going to renew your contract for this karmic work here because you haven't completed it yet. Is that what you want? You want to go on another round? You don't have to. Or you can discover, oh, you know, my heart is lighter than a feather, all right? And then it's like, all right, so I'm taking your order. You know, the universe is taking your order with that quill. All right, what would you like? What would you like to see in this new cycle? Let's make it happen. You're going to step into your destiny now, all right? Well, you get to create your destiny. You know that, right? You are the creator. I'm just here to, you know, help fuel that fire. You know, how do you want to direct your fire forward? You're ready to raise that wand. You're ready to direct your fire. You're ready to call into existence what you want. Name it, you know. This might be a cool exercise too. This is coming through, all right? Place your order. Place your order. As you spend this time doing this release work leading up to that changing of the nodes of destiny, why don't you write up an order, you know? Just think about the menu of life, you know? Life is a menu, and you can choose whatever you want to have on your plate there, okay? So write up your order. Write up your order and maybe use it as a petition. This would be beautiful, you know? Use it as a petition. Maybe even bring in like some candle work. You could do a like a 7-day candle and do a little votive work. Write up a petition that's like your order you're placing with the universe. Like, yeah, this is what I want for my new cycle. Yeah, I love it too. It's really cool. I love how things come out. You know, it's always unexpected. But look at it. It says here, ritual and ceremony can acquire all the treasures of heaven and earth. That's when we root that energy, as above, so below. I think this is brilliant to work with for that, you know, the nodes of destiny shift. I love it, balancing the scales in this way. But, you know, you got to free yourself from the old contract first. Y'all have an old soul contract that you need to release yourself from. There's something you're holding on to. You need to let go. You let go, the blessing comes through. What's on the other side here? Yep, also in reverse, Page of Cups, okay? Page of Cups, Cups energy does represent Scorpio South Node, okay? And the page holds a cup. It's also interesting in this one, this angel is holding a sword. Again, the sword imagery. The pen is mightier than the sword, okay? So this is talking about using the sword to cut off what no longer serves. And it's also about that, like, okay, place your order, all right? Because cups are all about messages. You know, you need to write out your message. What is your soul's mission statement now as you're moving forward? You know, place your order. It says divine comfort gives consolation and protection from one's enemies. All right. So you're blessed. You're covered. You don't need to worry about making things even, you know, with somebody who did you wrong back there, whatever it is that has you, you know, stuck in the past. It's being taken care of, you know. You can let go of that responsibility. Trust in the natural flow of life, you know. Trust in the ebbs and flows of life. You're not responsible for like executing punishment here, holding somebody accountable, making sure they get their karma, or judging what karma is right for them. You know, you have to just trust how things naturally unfold. But I feel like it's time to sort of like, it's time to change the message. It's time to change sort of the message you're feeding to your consciousness and not continue to focus on that Scorpio South Node energy where you're just so invested in the shadow and so invested in blaming other people for why things are going wrong in your life. Like, it's not going to serve you. Yeah, so what? You know, people went left back there, okay? But it's up to you to stay on the good red road. It's up to you to choose your actions. It's up to you to choose to respond. You know, you can stay entangled in that if you want to, but you don't really get to blame anybody for that. You know, that's a choice. It's all a choice at the end of the day, collective. And I think you're going to choose right. I really do. I think I'm going to get one overarching theme because I feel called to do that. And since we are preparing, building up to moving out of the Scorpio South Node, I think what I'm going to pull out is a Halloween card. You think we should pull the Halloween cards out, Ted? Is that a good idea? Yeah? Okay. We'll see what the Halloween cards have to say about our overarching theme. Let's have a look at that. And then we'll wrap this up. Now would be a good time if anybody has any questions, if anybody you know, wants to add anything about their experience as they've been moving through the Own Your Fire course, you know, to bring that in. Again, if you don't have the Own Your Fire course and you want to have access to it to move through this journey with us, of course, you know, you can always just tune in for these sessions too. You don't have to move through the course, but if you would like access to it, you can find it at cobrasmedicinebag.com. On the home page there, right at the top, there's a little write-up about it, and underneath that, you'll see a red button that says free access here. Click on that red button and it takes you right into the course. You don't even need to log in. You don't need to give your email, sign up for anything. There's no sales pitch, and it can really serve as a guide through this experience. Okay. Let's get one overarching theme for the collective. I love it. Right on the bottom of the deck. It's been coming up for us so frequently. We've got the spider medicine. That's that cosmic web of creation that we can weave in our own way on this earth, okay? Oh, I love this. That's great. Finally ate a big tub of spring mix. Nothing spoiled. Had a great week. No sugar and some cleansing. Excellent. That's fabulous. Yeah, there really is this component coming in right now about how the foods we're eating is playing such a role in our ability to integrate like what's being downloaded right now, because so many people are having a lot of like opening of the third eye center, the crown center, throat chakra, heart chakra. It's like the energy is really wanting to move into that expansion in the upper channels. And it's a much more difficult process if you're not running clean fuel. You know what I'm saying? It's something like we're needing an oil change, almost just like in order for a car, a vehicle, you know, to move forward well and function well, it needs to have clean fuel. I feel like it's the same thing. I'm almost seeing like the vehicle being like the Merkaba, you know, Metatron's vehicle, spiritual vehicle that he comes in with. It's like that Merkaba is what allows us to kind of travel in between worlds. It's what allows us to get the downloads from the ether and then like root it in material reality and alchemize our energy, raise the frequency, you know, all of that. And so it reminds me of that spiritual vehicle. And in order for the spiritual vehicle to function optimally, it really does depend on our ability to, you know, have a well-running vehicle of our earth suit, you know, our physical body. I've been getting that piece a lot about just like, yeah, spring greens, you know, lighter foods, fruits coming forward, juices, you know, smoothies. A lot of the ojas building foods are just really coming in, and it makes a huge difference. Even just like little shifts, even just drinking more water, doing some aqua frescas, you know, infusing your waters, maybe even bringing some solar energy in, like you can get waters and put all kinds of different herbs in your waters and then put it in a mason jar and charge it up in the sun to capture that solar energy. Ooh, I like that too. Just like building the light within, it lightens you up. It gives you more vitality. And when you feel better and you're taking care of your body, you feel more aligned, right? Just physically, you feel more aligned. And that also allows you to be a clear conduit for like getting your spiritual guidance, tapping into your psychic centers, having all of that come in. Oh, beautiful. Healing chai. I love that. Yes. I'm actually making up a big blend myself, a big like herbal blend tea that I can drink. I don't know if I'm going to make it a chai summit. I don't know. I might. I don't know if I feel drawn to that or I want to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to bring in ginger root, and I found turmeric root, which I was really excited about. I bought a whole mess of it. So I'm going to do ginger root, turmeric root, and then I'm going to put in some coriander. I'm kind of like thinking like cooling. I want to bring in some cooling elements too, since it's like, you know, the summer season and for Pitta. And I want to add some mint in there. Mint's also really good for warding. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of like switch it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to like do some sun agua frescas, you know, kind of like sun tea, only yeah, do it more like an herbal blend. I think will be really cool. Capture some of that solar energy, but bumping up the water can help too. It's a big difference. Mint, yes, mint, rose too, rose petals as well. You can bring all of that action in. Oh, I love it. You've really been working it. I love it. You've been doing great, Arvivo. The chai is wonderful too, and it's wonderful to have with your meals, but you know, there's other ways to work with it during the summer season that can be very supportive for Pitta. And mint's great to bring in. Mint is an excellent digestive. Coriander is also a wonderful digestive, and it's a little bit more cooling, less on the heating side. And you know, you can still bring in the ginger and you can still bring in the turmeric. Yeah. Just, I'm looking to bring in something a little different. You know, I feel like playing with it a little bit and just experimenting. And I really like the idea of solar infused water at this time because it's really in alignment with the energy. But yeah, sounds like you've really been working it. This is excellent. Excellent. Yes, you did. You've been with me from the start, and thank you so much. You've been such Ted, did you hear me? So, woo, Ted gave you a little shout out there. You've been a wonderful support, and I appreciate you so much. And thank you. Arvivo is one of the people who actually invested and paid for the Dosha Discovery series. And so I'm really grateful to all the people that paid for the series that I'm making free to all of you now, because they are a big part of making that possible. It's because they were there to support at that time that I needed that in that way through my Ayurvedic courses that I'm able to open them up and make them free to the collective. So thank you, Arvivo, so much for always being a support and being part of co-creating this and allowing people To have this source of free support, it's a beautiful thing. You help pay it forward. So blessings to you, man. It's really, really, it is. It's super awesome, right? But yeah, we got our spider medicine here, okay? So we know that we're heading into a time of creativity and connectivity. Let's not forget that piece. And I love that that whole exchange came in with you just there, because it says community and web weaving. So this is about remembering that it's a community, all right? And when I think of community, I think of coming together in unity, you know? That's really what it's about. And so it's about moving outside of that kind of like I consciousness, and especially in relation to things where you're having a hard time letting go or releasing someone or a situation or clinging to the past. It's really about remembering that we're all in this together. And you may not understand why somebody did something. You may not agree with it. You may feel that there's a disconnect there. But there's an understanding that's deeper than that when you come to the unity point where all things work for good. And even in the case where there's been loss or there's been tragedy, there's an opportunity there to come to some understanding or some wisdom or some gift that can be like plucked out of the darkness, that can bring something of worth and value forward. We know this. There's been people who have experienced great tragedies in their lives, great losses in their lives. They lost a loved one in a horrific way, and they used that experience and the grief of that experience not to stay stuck, not to give up on life, not to be bitter, but they used it to activate change in the world. They used it to create a foundation, an organization, a platform to educate others, to support others. We see this all the time. People have an unbelievable amount of resilience of spirit if they allow themselves to tap into it. And if we only stay stuck in looking at the pains and the injustices of life, we miss the opportunity to weave a new web, to weave a new way forward. So it's powerful, it's potent, and it's not a lie. Some of us, we have a harder road to hoe. We have a more difficult path. We have a more fierce path. And the fiercer your path, maybe you need to think about it, the more bright your purpose, right? It's sort of like, you know, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow, right? So where there's been great darkness in your life, there's also great potential, great creative potential to bring in the light and to call in a brighter way forward. All right, so let's hold on to some of that energy. You know, we really are being asked to step in as alchemists. It's like the age of Aquarius and moving into that expansive consciousness to kind of, you know, move into that place where we allow the boundaries of what separates us to dissolve, so we can really understand that the more we take the risk and have the courage to free ourselves, the more we help give others the courage to step into their freedom, and the more we grant them their freedom, which is moving out of that energy of love. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day too? We just want to be loved. We want to be loved and accepted for who we are. We want to have that freedom to be who we are, to make the choices we want to make in our lives because we know they're right for us. And we also want to have the freedom to make our own mistakes, you know, to blow it and learn our own lessons. It's like when somebody's made a mistake, they know they've made a mistake. They do. And they know that they have to own their actions. Eventually it comes home to roost. Like, they don't need you telling them all the ways that they're wrong, all the ways that they've blown it, and all the ways that they can do better. You know, they're already punishing themselves enough. Shame, guilt, I mean, it's a heavy burden to bear, right? So we need to be mindful of this. All right. There we go. It came forward really quickly for us, overarching theme. It's so perfect. Look, mummy, change. And I love, we brought in Egypt, right? We've been talking about Egypt.
I love this with the pyramids there. It just is really bringing forward the whole message of this download. I love how it's tying it up, you know, so perfectly. It's really just bringing it full circle. The mummy energy, right? It's that old stuff. It's that ancient stuff that keeps us bound, that keeps us tied up, that keeps us stuck. You know, we got to free ourselves. And I love the parallel, you know, because I brought in the Eight of Swords, even though it didn't come out in the tarot. You know, in the Eight of Swords, there's a blindfold in place, right? And there's all the same kind of bindings in place, right? And in the Eight of Swords imagery in traditional tarot, you know, the person can kind of see out under the blindfold. And here it's very clear. It's like you can't deny it anymore. You see clearly. You see clearly the bind you got yourself in, right? And that works both ways. You see the bind you got yourself in by continuing to stay stuck, you know, trying to punish those who did you wrong in the past, or trying to hold them accountable, or trying to make sure they get their just desserts. It's like, it's only keeping you stuck. You're missing out on your opportunity to move into that ascension point, to rise up into your North Node and experience the beauty that's on the other side of this loss, all right? The growth that's on the other side of this loss. You're staying small. Isn't this uncomfortable? It's so uncomfortable to be tightly bound like this and to stay in your sense of victimization and tell yourself, I can't move forward because this person did this to me and they still haven't told me the truth about what happened. They still haven't said they're sorry. There's nothing. Come on. Come on. It's comical at a certain point. It really is. It is. You know, this is about really like moving out of that energy and recognizing you see clearly it's time for change, and that change is coming one way or another. That change is coming, so it's time to get on board, align with the Sirius energy, that dog star energy, the spiritual sun, by giving yourself some space. Today is the last day of that Sirius gateway. Okay, it's when you can really bring forward a seed that can be planted when those nodes of destiny shift. So I really encourage you today, take your time to align with the dog star. And it'll be your little dog following you as you head on that fool's journey, nipping at your heels, reminding you that I'm here. You may not be able to see me in these dog days of summer. I might not be visible, but I'm here. I'm right behind you. I'm helping you shine that light forward. I'm helping you step into that solar energy. I'm helping you step into the sun, your happiness, everything that it's been all about. And it's really a beautiful thing, right? Be willing to change. Be willing to change. And be willing to accept, even if you can't see it right now, that this change is good and that all things are working out in your favor. If you just trust, let go and trust, okay? So go with the flow. Don't resist, all right? Don't resist. Don't get stuck back in this past. I loved it. Beautiful message, collective. There's a lot that came through. There's a lot that came through to work with. Drop in with your spirit today. You know, maybe do some kind of spiritual growth work. Drop in with a guided meditation. If you want something here, you know, if you look back on the old Own Your Fire playlist from 2022, got tons of meditative journeys on there that you can work with, okay? You can also explore YouTube. You can even just drop in on your own and meditate somewhere out in nature, you know. Just put it out there that you're ready to receive some guidance, some guiding light from that solar energy, from that spiritual sun of Sirius, and just ask to receive some of those transmissions today. Ask for some downloads, ask for some guidance, do some ritual, and watch what happens. I think you're going to get a seed that you'll be ready to plant when those nodes of destiny shift, and it'll grow beautiful things for the future cycle. So thank you so much for dropping in with me. Thank you so much for being part of this experience. And if you feel so inspired and you haven't already, please subscribe. It really helps the channel. Like, share, do all things, comment. It really helps get the messages out, and I appreciate all of you so much. We're co-creating this together. And Ted just adds his 2 cents here. You have something you want to say? Yeah? Should they follow the dog star? Yeah, Ted says follow the dog star. He said, did you hear that? Ted knows what's up. Follow the dog star. And hey, you know, the dog star is aligned with Isis and Anubis. So it's so fitting that Ted just said yes again. Ted kind of looks like Anubis, actually. He kind of bears resemblance to Anubis. So Ted's like affirming this message. You got a stamp of approval, all right? He's got a direct link with Anubis there. So go for it. And you know what Anubis is all about. You got it. You know? Time to settle the scores, balance those scales, let it go, accept the deaths, and it's time to head forward into the new. Thank you so much for joining me, and I love you. I love you, Arbibo. Love all of you, and thank you so much for being part of this experience with me. I'm right there with you, all right? I'm going to do this work too, and we'll drop in with another live on Tuesday. Take care. Blessed move, Arbibo.